How Dubai became a safe haven for some of Australia's most dangerous suspected criminals.
These are people right at the top of the tree.
The baddest of the bad.
The baddest of the bad.
Let's stop pretending this is isolated. Young African women are being recruited with promises of money, jobs, luxury, and a better life. They board flights believing they're stepping into opportunity. Some land in the United Arab Emirates. Some end up in Dubai. And within hours, everything changes. Passports taken, phones monitored, threats issued, control begins.
$2.8 million women work as maids in the Middle East. Many have their passports confiscated on arrival, and some find themselves trapped inside homes where they're overworked, underpaid, and physically abused.
This isn't a rumor. This is a trafficking pipeline. Recruiters don't look like criminals. They look like success. They flash high-rise skylines. They show luxury cars. They promise salon jobs, hospitality jobs, and domestic work. But survivors describe something else: isolation, coercion, humiliation.
Women let rich men poo in their mouths.
Dubai Porta Potty is the internet term used to describe money-hungry influencers willingly getting defecated on for cash.
Some dark, demented, twisted shit is going down in Dubai.
It starts off with memes on a hashtag with over 450 million views.
Modern slavery doesn't look like chains anymore. It looks like a contract. It looks like visas. It looks like paperwork that traps you in a foreign country with no power. And when victims speak, the system calls it rare. But when the pattern repeats across countries, across years, across networks, it's not rare, it's structured. Now let's talk about something even bigger: gold. Across the Sahel region, armed extremist groups control mining areas.
Eight countries, all plagued by terrorism, especially prevalent in Mali. Under the banner of Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb, a coalition of jihadist groups came together in 2017.
They tax miners. They seize land. They displace communities. Villages empty. Families flee. Gold leaves. That gold doesn't stay in the desert. It crosses borders through smuggling routes. And one of the largest gold trading hubs in the world? Dubai.
Everyone from your flight walks towards passport control, but you wheel your carry-on bag the other way, towards the transit terminal. You sit down at a cafe, and a short while later, another traveler appears. He puts his bag down, picks yours up, and walks the other way. You finish your coffee, pick up his bag, and board the next flight back to where you just came from. You don't open the bag, but you know that inside is $2.5 million in cash. I know, it sounds like a bank heist, right? But this is how more than 400 tons of smuggled gold enters the UAE every year from Africa, worth around $30 billion. And here's the thing. Once that smuggled gold is melted, refined, and sold on the market in Dubai, it becomes 100% legal. As a new gold rush is taking over the world, driving up the price of gold to historic levels, the UAE has strategically turned itself into a global hub for gold and gold laundering, and has done this partly through financing civil war in Africa.
So here's the question most people avoid. If illegal gold keeps entering global markets, if gold from conflict zones keeps being refined and sold, if the money keeps flowing, who is inspecting it? Who is rejecting it? Who is asking where it came from? Now let's go further. The Sahel has been destabilized for years by extremist armed groups. These groups don't survive on ideology alone. They survive on revenue. And gold is revenue. So here's the uncomfortable question. What would happen if the UAE stopped buying untraceable gold? Would extremist groups in the Sahel still have the same financial oxygen? Would armed factions still control mining territories at the same scale? Would terrorism be as sustainable if the market for illicit gold shrank? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's economics. No buyer, no profit, no scalable violence. If a marketplace exists for conflict gold, conflict becomes profitable. The United Arab Emirates has anti-trafficking laws. It participates in global trade standards. It hosts international forums. So why do survivors still report passport confiscation? Why do recruitment chains remain porous? Why does gold from unstable regions repeatedly appear in formal trading systems? At what point does "we didn't know" become "we didn't look hard enough"? Because markets don't function accidentally. They function by design. And when a system consistently benefits from cheap imported labor, gold with questionable origins, weak enforcement in origin countries, the benefit is not abstract, it's measurable. Let's be absolutely clear. This is not about Islam. This is not about Arab identity. This is not about ordinary citizens in the Gulf. This is about power structures. This is about global economic systems that reward instability in one region and growth in another. It's about how African insecurity can translate into foreign prosperity if nobody interrupts the pipeline. Behind every gold shipment is a displaced family. Behind every trafficking case is a young woman who thought she was boarding a plane toward opportunity. Some survivors describe treatment so degrading it shocks investigators. And while skylines rise, their stories disappear. Modern exploitation survives on three things: silence, denial, profit. Africa is not a warehouse. African women are not export commodities. Gold extracted through fear should not quietly fund luxury markets. So we return to the central question. If the financial lifeline were cut, would the violence shrink? If the demand were tightened, would the supply collapse? If global trading hubs enforced zero tolerance, would armed groups still thrive? Because terrorism is not just ideology, it's business. And business only survives when someone is buying. The pipeline exists. The money moves. The question is, who has the power to stop it? And why haven't they?
If this breakdown gave you something to think about, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And stay tuned for another episode of What is Going On Media, where we make the complicated clear.